Let's be honest, guys, some cards deserve to be on the ban list more than others. Hey guys, this is Fox. Welcome to MST.TV, and it is around that time of the year again. We are closing in onto ban list season for 2022. I guess it's January. But regardless, we can cover a couple of topics here that I think are the main culprits of the things that are making the game not as fun, a little bit too sacky, a little bit overpowered, and I've got 5 ban list picks for you guys. I would not be surprised if Konami touched these in any capacity, just because they are very strong and probably a good touch. And I know everyone's gonna be agreeing with me in this particular ban list R&D because I can't see the dislike button anymore. Good job, YouTube. No, seriously, just bring it back so I can see how many of you guys are disagreeing. But leave it down in the comment section if you guys are not agreeing with my biased opinions. You guys can feel free to leave your biased opinions down in the comment section as well. So anyways, without further ado, let's look at some of the cards that I do believe have targets on their backs, starting with number 1. Card number 1 is going to be Imperial Order. This is one of the universally most hated card to be on the receiving end, and since it is a one-of card, it is a sack if you have it, and if you decide to actually combo it out, then that's even worse because you have a floodgate that can shut off more than half of someone's deck. Let's face it, when people build their decks, you're more likely to see 40% monster, 50% spells, and maybe 10% traps, or even 0% traps. So you're shutting more than half of someone's deck off, unless they're monster heavy, but you know, that's besides the point. So yeah, it's pretty awful. You can have a handful of spell cards and it's just a dead hand because you just can't play. Well, some people may say, oh, get good combox. Well, even if you get good and have Cosmic Cyclone in your hand and you time it right, you usually bait it out with another spell and you chain Cosmic Cyclone, the front row could potentially have the spell trap negation to turn you off, making it so that you need multiple cards before your Cosmic Cyclone even holds any value. And to me, that's just like a lot easier to be doing that than to be, you know, planning out like 20 steps to break a whole board only to be shut down by one card. You can watch someone's face implode in itself when that happens. It's like, oh, I've got the perfect hand. They're gonna throw all sorts of excuse at you of how because IO killed them, and let's face the facts, IO did kill them. Card number 2, Predaplant Verte Anaconda. You guys would have been super mad if I did not include it in here, and I finally do agree. It's not really the fusion spell's fault. I think it's more Predaplant Verte Anaconda because Anaconda can help you bypass some of the restrictions on those cards, and not only that, just use their effects. So you can do a lot more with it. So you know, you full combo, then you go into Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, or you full combo and put into a DPE, or if you get hella hand trapped and then you go into a DP. It's so easy. A 4-year-old could do it. But I think the point is what you do with that DPE. Again, like Phantom Knights, they already had a super strong combo. They can go into the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, but the DPE thing offers people scythe locking, and this is one way to actually hit a lot of these DPE decks without, you know, hurting heroes directly. I don't think taking away Destiny, Fusion Destiny is the right call. Taking away Red Eyes Fusion might not be the right call either, because if they are hard opening with a card and they're just playing Floodgate deck and looking at you guys sub-terrors, well, they have it, they have it. If they're playing Fusion Destiny, they have to hard open Fusion Destiny, which is still pretty good. Maybe Fusion Destiny could be on this list at some point in the future, but I would say it's too fresh right now. I think Verte Anaconda probably is the better choice. But Tombox, they just printed this card in gold. Yes, just like Dryden was printed in gold and then was banned also later on. So I wouldn't say printing it in gold offers it any real level of protection here. You know what I'm saying? And this is like a way to hit stuff like Invoke. It also hits Drytron too because they can't make the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. It is a hit towards them. There's also Phantom Knights. This takes away the likelihood of getting Scythe Lock within 2 cards. I mean, Scythe Lock still probably would be a thing. I'm not sure if Scythe may be a right card to hit, but you know, setting up Scythe is like a skill-based thing. They've solved the Scythe Lock for whatever reason, and now we're getting Scythe Lock. I think one of my biggest gripes with Scythe Lock personally is going to be like the ability to use it twice, and now you're forced to play stuff like DD Crow. The meta has adapted. We are playing Crow in our side deck now. We're playing stuff to basically Cosmic Cyclone to remove the card, but you know, there's always counter sides like Artifact Lancia, and then you're still kind of dying. But at least that's more of a little, you know, game of chess rather than just sitting there and dying. Card number 3, Elsa Doll Winda's cousin, Apkalon. Right, that's right, her buddy in the extra deck that lets her come out for free. It's Apple. Now hear me out. I get that if I said Winda, most of the Doll community is cracking their knuckles and basically ready to go full keyboard warrior on me, but just hear me out. Why not the Winda and why the App Clone? App Clone is mainly because of Invoke DP. Invoke DP gets to play with your Winda without the use of any main decked Doll monsters. Doesn't that feel kind of weird? It's just a schism. And it's because the App Clone adds the card directly to the hand, and they get to throw away an extra monster back into the graveyard. And simply because of that one little maneuver, they get to play Winda by banishing either their Alistair and plus the App Clone, because App Clone's already dark, which makes it super easy for them to have access to it. And on top of that, they layer their interactions so that you have to crack the board bit by bit. There's no such thing as an easy board wipe against this, because not everything is actually on the field right away. They've got a fleur-de-lis in their hand, they have perhaps like the Invoke Mecha, but really being the only true negation on the field that can negate basically anything. And then your Winda's not even on board at the time of any of this, because they can just chain it during that main phase. And simply because of that, you have to answer each part of it manually, or you have to trade away your battle phase for an evenly matched. And that as well isn't always going to work in case the Mechabot does have like a single trap in their hand. But I wouldn't be too surprised if they decide to hit both of these cards, or maybe just straight up just hit the Winda and just get rid of it altogether. I mean, sure, we get an angry Doll mob, but it still solved the problem where App Clone also becomes useless within the Invoke DPE. You know, Invoke DP is going to cause a lot of collateral damage, and that's just my opinion here. A lot of these cards aren't exactly new. I think the only new cards added into the deck would probably just be the DPE stuff, and everything else kind of was already there, so not exactly sitting in the safest spot. Card number 4, Lyraless Turquoise Warbler? Yeah, it's going to be Turquoise Warbler. I don't think there's another card that I would probably put into this list. I want to put Bird Call, but Bird Call is just far too new. If it's a new card and it's not completely game-breaking, then it's likely not going to get hit. I get that some cards will get hit, like what, Link Cross? Link Cross didn't exist for far too long, and boom, it got snapped off of the face of the earth. So for now, I would say Warbler is kind of in the same boat as Speedroid Terratop. They both are kind of similar in some degree. Both of them are able to generate additional monsters, and they both summon out without starting a chain, and Warbler doesn't even target, so it's just some of the things that you have to hit. The thing about Warbler that makes it so scary is because it is a level 1 wing beast, and when you pair that off, it's not the easiest thing to deal with because of the amount of follow-ups you have. Because if Warbler successfully revives, say, a Cobalt Sparrow, now you're in for a world of hurt. Cobalt Sparrow is going to search a card. You can't really just ash your way out of this because there's 2 birds, and that's going to lead to Recital Starling. Recital Starling paired with another bird, you're just bound to get hit by something. Now, it used to be like, oh, this is such a great opener card for Bird Up, but with Bird Call being released, it's just, now it's gone down to a whole new level because they get to use it as an extender. And on top of that, Farigit can also summon out this card, and I believe their effects are not negated, so it's special summon from the hand, it gets to activate summon something from the grave, and it's just one of the best cards in the entire deck. And it's the one reason why it's so hard to use any sort of hand traps against Bird Up, because this card simply acting as an extender just leads to most hand traps being also pretty useless, and you have to time it, and it's very hard to use targeting based hand traps once they have the Cobalt Sparrow out, because anything that exceeds into anything with a Cobalt Sparrow, you can't target it, so it's pretty rough. But if Bird Call wasn't so new, Bird Call would have been easily here, just basically part of the Rhoda family, stuff that searches 1 for 1 out of the deck and does anything more, they'll get hit. Same with Sword Soul. Sword Soul probably isn't the same camp where the card is too new for emergence, but it's likely going to see its fair share of hits on the ban list probably in the future. Before I get into card number 5, leave in the comment section of what you guys believe to be some cards that deserve to be addressed. Now, this is just research material, and I would love to read your thoughts on what you guys believe to be issues. I'm obviously having different issues compared to you guys, so I would love to hear your thoughts. And let's get into card number 5. And that card is Harpies Featherstorm. It is really rough to be on the receiving end of this card. All your monsters being turned off all at once, whether it be from your hand, field, grave, Banish, your hood, your pocket, it doesn't matter. All of them are inert. They will not work when you activate them. So, you know, it's just tough luck there. And usually if you are on the receiving end, like, you hand trap your opponent, you're like, oh, this is gonna be great, and then all of a sudden they Featherstorm you, and now your turn is more or less skipped. It goes back to them, and they can try to OTK you once again. And legitimately, the only out against it, if you want to be able to play for the turn that it gets activated, is Red Reboot. Not every single deck is capable of playing through it, because without monster effects, you're going to not be able to generate a lot of the resources. So if you're trying to build a board through it, it's not that great. If you're willing to pay half your life for that Red Reboot, however, you have one choice. You have to kill them right away, because likely they're going to set another copy of Featherstorm, and now you're stuck with no effects for at least 2 turns, and I don't know how you're going to kill anyone. I don't even think Grand Maju can truly kill someone with that on the field. I think it's actually pretty difficult. Okay, sure, Grand Maju still has full attack points because it's continuous, but the problem is you can't generate, say, the board popping capabilities of your danger monsters. And if you throw Kaiju at your opponent, remember, you can't even pop that Kaiju anymore. It's like you have limited effects, so anything that you throw into your opponent, it's like just super limited. It's a pretty rough taste for sure. And I don't want to see people trap tricking this onto the field just to like stun you out. There's not much you can do about it. And yeah, what are you gonna do? It's a blanketing effect. It's almost like getting hit by a D-barrier, and they know what you're playing, so they shut off your main mechanic. And if you're a deck that doesn't run back row to hold the board, you just have to eat it. I guess in some cases, this card forces people to play more back row just to stay alive, because the monsters themselves just won't do it. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if this card also potentially, you know, people decide to take a look at it to see if it actually deserves to get hit, or maybe we'll just get power creeped out in the future. Who knows? What about Sword Soul and Drytron? Those decks are dominating. Well, Drytron, I don't think they're dominating as much, especially with the Chowfang combo locking them out. They can get Chowfang or Protoss. Protoss can pop maybe the Chi-Shao, and then boom, light locked. It's pretty rough. Protoss, just as bad. Protoss, pop a light monster, pop that Chi-Shao, boom, permanent light lock for the entire turn. That's why you're probably not seeing as much Drytron top. And not that being said, there's also like a ton of imperms, a ton of effect veilers. Ashes are everywhere because of DPE, and also Drone Lockbird being a popular option right now. It just makes it a really rough time to be a Drytron player. As for Sword Soul, they're so new, guys. I don't think they're really deserving of that much of a hit being this fresh. I look at Emergence and I'm like, yeah, Emergence is probably going to take a hit probably in the future. And maybe Ecclesia, but Ecclesia never really is like that card to touch. It's more likely that we're going to see Moye get touched. Like, the thing is, once you start hitting the main deck monsters of Sword Soul, you're going to run into the problem where it's very difficult for anyone to play Pot of Desires. In other words, hitting any of the main deck monsters will start to affect their Desires capability. You know what I'm saying? So there's like a lot of things to kind of think about in that angle. But anyways, that's my little 2 cents about those particular 2 decks that aren't getting hit just yet. And well, that's all I got for this one, guys. If you guys enjoyed this segment, well, make sure you smash that thumbs up button. Check out MSTmerch.com. All right, guys, it is the holidays. If you guys want to pick something up, some sleeves, some mat, everything is basically on sale. And when the new products come in, they are a little bit late. When they do come in, it's going to be fantastic, which is hopefully these are going to be some of the stuff that you guys can take to YCS Pasadena. I'll let you guys know, and on the drop they will be on sale, so stay tuned for that. And, you know, thank you guys for watching, for being awesome. Leave a comment down in the comment section, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you guys believe to have, well, what you guys believe to be cards that deserve, you know, a target on their back. And I'll see you guys in the next one.